Hello, this is Jomeng. In this session, we are going to draw clothing folds. I'll start right away, so I hope you draw along with me. First of all, to draw clothing folds, you need to understand the human body to some extent. I'll quickly sketch the body first, and then explain things as we add the clothing folds. I've drawn a simple body. I have many more videos focused on human body than on clothing folds, so I recommend practicing human body separately through those videos. For this session, let's focus on how to draw clothes on top of the body. The first thing you need to understand is where the supporting surfaces are. For example, when drawing an arm, if the arm is hanging straight down like this, the only supporting area is the shoulder. If the arm is stretched slightly forward, the shoulder is still the supporting surface, but the length changes. Because this side becomes shorter, folds appear here. The slightly back part of the shoulder also becomes a supporting surface, which creates this kind of flow, and that's why folds form in an uneven way here. At the elbow, there will naturally be many folds. And since the arm is bent here, this length becomes shorter as well. Because the length is reduced, folds appear in this area. You can see the flow of folds connecting from the elbow. Next, on the back side of the arm, using the seam line as a reference, you can see a flow starting from here and continuing downward. This entire area works as a supporting surface. Because the body is bent forward, the front length becomes shorter. As a result, pulling folds appear toward the back. For the legs as well, if the leg were hanging straight down, there wouldn't be many folds. But when the leg is lifted forward like this length becomes much shorter. When a long length is compressed, folds naturally form, so many folds appear here. You can think of these folds as starting from the hip and continuing downward like this. On the other side, the leg is bent in the opposite direction, so many folds appear in this area instead. And these folds connect into a flow that starts from the knee. I'll redraw this more clearly using a darker pencil. When drawing pants, it's helpful to draw the seam lines. This makes the pants look much more three-dimensional. It will look roughly like this. Now let's draw this outfit. You can draw clothes just by copying what you see, but it's much better if you understand the body underneath. That's why studying anatomy is extremely important. When you raise the arm, this clothing is not thin or very soft, but slightly thick, so instead of only small local changes, the entire garment shifts its position. As the arm goes up, the lower part of the shirt lifts like this. And again, as the arm is raised, you can really feel the pulling force in this area. You can think of most of the folds starting from here. This arm is not only raised, but also slightly pointing outward. Because the arm is lifted and this length becomes shorter, folds appear along this outer contour. This area is bent as well. So folds appear here too. It's important to understand the flow of clothing folds that starts from the elbow. In the raised arm, the elbow becomes a new supporting surface. From here, new flows begin. You can see flows moving outward, and also flows that show tension and pulling. You can also see folds around the shoulder area here. Right now, we are drawing while looking at reference, but after repeating this many times, you'll start to understand basic clothing folds even without reference. They don't need to be extremely detailed. You just need to apply the basic principles. Clothing folds in animation are often simpler than you might expect, and are usually expressed in a very simplified way. It's important to simplify these ideas and practice them in your own style. Since this is not a face drawing session, I'll draw the face very simply. When I draw faces, I always start with a circle like this. If you're not familiar with these basic concepts, checking out my membership might be very helpful for you. I believe it's an easy course where even beginners can learn basic volume and proportion. I noticed that I drew the male face quite roughly, but spent a bit more time when drawing the female face. In this session, we drew two simple figures like this. Understanding the principle is important, but to really apply them from many different angles, you need to do a lot. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next time. Bye!